You are not prepared.
Yo guys, what is up? My name is Jeracraft and I'm so glad to finally post this video for you guys. As you may know, this is my first video back after hitting those 1 million subscribers, which is absolutely insane. I really wanted to thank you guys by putting together an extra special creative journey as we celebrate with yet another epic Minecraft adventure. Now, I know a lot of you sit through my entire video, which I really do appreciate. So today, we're going to be going on an extra long adventure across the hot, rocky desert in the hopes of building a massive orc-themed city. To take things even further, I'm going to attempt to rebuild an almost identical replica of the iconic dark portal from the World of Warcraft franchise. So without further ado, sit back, relax and enjoy as we venture into the much anticipated 1 million subscriber special. And so we begin today's adventure, starting with nothing but a super flat surface that we can start editing using World Painter. I'm going to be using blocks I practically never use for landscape, stuff like terracotta, granite and red sand. But surprisingly, this does work really well and it's the closest I could get to the kind of landscape you would find around orc cities as well as the dark portal. I did although take things a step further and threw together a massive ceiling just to create some of the craziest looking landscape. But I really do love these random rock formations and this gives me a pretty good canvas to start working with. Now the only problem is the enormous flat surface left across the top of the canyon. Now I did try fixing this by hand, but the surface was just way too big to fix manually, so I tried using World Painter only to realize I had practically destroyed hours of hard work in the process. But don't worry, luckily I did keep a backup, so I simply extracted the new ceiling and pasted the content back into the fixed version. But now that we have the landscape complete, we can start focusing on the interesting stuff. The idea is to build the orc city within the massive crater. We also need to make sure to leave some space for the dark portal later on in the video. I think the best option for now is just to start building a path leading up into the canyon. It is a strange selection of blocks to use for a path, but it's the best combination I could find that actually works well with the rest of the landscape. And of course, this can be accompanied by some nice looking fire pots to light up the way. I also tried experimenting with different orc themed features, like a simple horde banner, but I soon realized it might be a much better idea if we tried building some massive banners instead, just hanging from the front of each cliff face. This allows me to add much more detail into the project and get a closer, more accurate replica of the original design. Right guys, it's time to start introducing some orc buildings, starting off with some defensive towers, and we're going to make sure to connect the towers to the main road, as I really want to make sure that every aspect of this build is accessible without the need of having to fly around. Now what we could do is start building a wall cutting across the front of the canyon. I'm going to try my best to make the buildings look as orcish as possible, but honestly I'm really just using my imagination, as this could be one of the most difficult styles I've ever tried to create. One of the most helpful features was the use of bones scattered across the project. I wanted the build to feel very tribal looking and not the kind of place you want to run into. One of my favorite new additions were the use of bones tied by rope around the top edges of the cliff. Honestly, I think anyone wandering the desert would feel intimidated getting anywhere near this place. But then again, this is Minecraft and wandering traders seem to spawn literally anywhere.
For the horde.
But now we can finally venture into the canyon, building a small gatehouse and finishing off the back wall. At this stage, my goal is now to transform this entire crater into a fully functional orc city. Luckily enough, I actually managed to find my very first orc buildings, which I built over 7 years ago. I thought it would be a great idea to add these creations to the orc city, as they've pretty much never been used in any of my projects. All we have to do is give them a fresh new makeover, because of course they are quite outdated and they could use some of the new and latest Minecraft blocks. Now, apart from giving those old creations a brand new home, I'm also going to try building some new designs based on that same style. The only challenging issue is having to transform the landscape in order to accommodate the new buildings, as the terrain is not really that build friendly. I also somehow have to find a way to connect all the buildings together using wooden suspension bridges and roads. Almost like a giant maze, I tried my best to make the project feel adventurous, allowing you guys to explore different areas of the city and possibly even get lost exploring. Now, you may think the city is almost complete, but trust me, I spent the next couple of hours, days, and possibly even weeks making sure that every inch of this map was completely transformed. I built a few small mine entrances, decorating everything as best as I could, even building cages for all our lost wandering traders. But one of my favorite new additions to the city were these giant tents held together by stacks of bones. Maybe this could be used as some sort of military training ground.
Blood and thunder, will you stop?
But even after surrounding the entire city with walls, towers, and all sorts of extras, I still felt like there was something missing. So I quickly jumped back into World of Warcraft and traveled all the way to the Orcs' main city called Orgrimmar, just to search for a couple of new ideas. I came across some interesting looking sunshades, and yes, I don't really know what to call this, so we're just gonna call them sunshades. Either way, I thought this would be the perfect way of decorating the top edge of the canyon. I really love the look of this, and it makes the top half of the project not feel as empty. To finally finish off the city, I decorated the canyon walls with red terracotta. I don't know why this works so well, but it kind of looks like the orcs have painted the walls red to mark their territory. But with that done, we can now move on to the most challenging build I've probably ever undertaken. In order for us to create a Dark Portal replica, we first have to calculate how many blocks we have available to work with. Then we have to allocate the right number of blocks to each section of the portal. And yes, I don't usually build replicas because they simply take twice as long, and we're pretty much stepping into the realm of advanced building. The truth is, I already attempted to build this portal once and failed miserably, pretty much building my very own design. The coincidence is that this was my 100,000 subscriber special, but now with over 1 million subscribers, I am absolutely determined to get this done for you guys. Now, once I managed to put together the portal's initial shape, I began working on the most difficult features. Just building the statue itself took me well over 7 hours to create, so I will be using World Edit to copy paste the second statue and save some time. I mean, this monument is absolutely ginormous, standing tall at well over 150 blocks, and right at the top, we're going to build the massive dragon's head just like the original. This took me several different attempts because one of my goals was to get the eyes to be seen not just from the side, but from the front, and for some reason, I found this almost impossible to get right. But from now on, I'm going to be using my own imagination to decorate the rest of this massive monument, building some fancy looking walkways, chains hanging down from each side of the portal, and all sorts of little details. And to finally finish off this project, we're going to be using layers upon layers of terracotta and stained glass to create the portal's main effect. Now, you could always use Minecraft's original Nether portal somehow using mods because the portal is just way too big, but I totally prefer this version instead, and with that done, I can now finally proudly present to you my epic, brand new 1 million subscriber special.
Imprisoned for 10,000 years.
guys, if you want to get your hands on this world, be sure to check out www.jeracraft.net. I really want to thank you guys for all the support you've shown me all over these years and helping me reach this mind-blowing goal of 1 million subscribers. I'm hoping to see you guys in the next one. This is Jeracraft over and out.